This is the Spirit and Wellness Show. News and information from a higher perspective. With your host, Harry Wilkinson.
Yes, hello, this is your host, Harry Wilkinson, and welcome to the Spirit and Wellness Show. This is the show where we take a look at the weeks and the days, events, happenings in the news, happenings in the nation, internationally, in politics, in the worlds of technology, science, all of it that we deal with on a daily basis. All the information that comes at us from such a wide variety of sources these days. And we take a step back and we look at it from a higher perspective. And that higher perspective is one of understanding that what is going on in the outer world is a reflection of what we are creating. And we are creating these situations in order to experience, to have experiences of interaction and ultimately of personal expansion and growth, to reconnect with the truth of who and what we are, which is oneness. We are all one. We are divine mind, if you will. That's my perspective on it anyway. And so we indulge is probably not the best word, but at the highest level, we create the world around us. Quantum physics is showing us increasingly how that happens with a greater understanding of quarks, bosons, and energy, that everything is energy, and that we create what we create when we focus our energy on it. So, conversely, when you go into a situation and take your energy from it, you recognize the truth of what it is, that it is a creation, and a very powerful and wonderful creation. But a creation all the same. And you take your energy from it, it's very empowering, and you have a greater understanding of how what you are creating in the world, what we are creating as one divine mind in the world, is supporting us, helping us to expand as people. And I know sometimes it doesn't seem like that, especially considering a year like the year we've been having, when it just seems that so many negative, even nasty things are out there in the world. But we've talked about this on this show quite a bit, how coming face to face with situations like these help us to reevaluate who and what we are, and to have a greater understanding of what we can do in the world and what we really want to be about, what we really want to project. I spoke of, for instance, early on, even before the presidential election of last year, in talking about Donald Trump, now our president, I mentioned his connection, or my feeling of his connection, and representation of what Native Americans call Heyoka medicine. Heyoka medicine is the medicine that goes counter to everything, turns everything upside down, makes everything chaotic. And Heyoka medicine people were considered to be sacred, because in that Heyoka approach, it allows people to really examine the things they might take for granted and reaffirm those things that they value the most, and eliminate those things which no longer serve. The Heyoka shaman or the Heyoka warrior is a clown. Heyoka warrior rides backwards into battle. Heyoka warrior may wear his shield on his head. Heyoka shamans may tell silly jokes at a very serious ceremony. They may do crude things like burp or fart. These were all ways of shaking things up. These were all ways of loosening things up in one sense, and in the other sense, turning everything upside down in a sacred way, which allows you then to re-examine your beliefs as you put things right. I believe that's a lot of what's going on right now in our world, not just in this country, but across the board in many ways. I've spoken at length about this being a transition era. Well, part of that transition is everything gets turned upside down. Everything gets turned on its head as we really recreate what it is we believe in. And that can cause some very, roller coaster-like experiences. And they're necessary, I think, for us to, again, understand the truth of who and what we are. And to also understand their non-reality. I mean, these things they feel real, okay, but they're illusions that we've created. But of course they have to feel real, because what's the point in engaging in, a game or a movie or even reading a fiction novel if it doesn't involve you, if it doesn't get you hooked, if it doesn't make you feel. Well, that's what we do here on a much grander scale. So obviously, when we have big crises or situations in which there's a lot of focus, maybe too much focus, some would say too much focus, it's really us telling ourselves something about ourselves. You've probably noticed in the news an awful lot coming to light about situations of sexual harassment or abuse or misbehavior, if you will. We're going through this cycle where these, people are coming forward with these stories, and then the people about whom those stories involved, like the latest was Al Franken. He got up to some naughtiness on a USO tour with a young lady, and now he's paying the price for that. And so we're seeing a lot of confusion also coming out of this. The confusion centers around people's feelings and unresolved issues, and the healing that we have to do in many cases about our ideas of sex itself. That's a big part of it. there's an examination going on now, which really needs to happen, because we really need to get these terms under control. What do they mean? We have to look at the context of these things. We are hearing terms like sexual misconduct being thrown around right next to sexual assault. And then, of course, you have accusations of rape coming out at this point. And we really have to get under control what these things mean and to whom they mean it. Because legally in lawyerese, there are definitions of these things, but again, there's context. There's groping is being thrown around out there too. So we have to really get an idea of what that means. Is sexual misconduct, is that grabbing someone in the wrong place inappropriately? But then that's also sometimes called sexual assault. Assault is a pretty powerful term. Assault is an attack, basically. And so does that include, grabbing someone's bottom, which we've heard our former President H.W. Bush apparently has done on many occasions. Is that an assault? Or is that just misconduct? Is that, just groping? A lot of these are getting very, very confused and entangled. And it's time that people thought about their behavior and what it means and how we react to such behavior. These are moments where we do define ourselves. We've seen, obviously, the judge in Alabama there, Judge Roy Moore, who's running for a seat in the Congress, and apparently has had a history of either, again, confusion of terms, either sexual misconduct. I think somebody has accused him of rape at some point. But in any case, inappropriate sexual overtures towards minors, teenage girls, basically, which he continues to deny. And not only deny, but become indignant about how dare someone, bring that up 40 years after it happened, or things of that nature. And then there's the very extreme reactions that are happening when a famous person like a Kevin Spacey or the comedian Louis C.K., when accusations are brought forward about their actions and the extreme sort of disowning of these people. Their business ties get cut immediately. No one wants to have anything to do with them. I think we have to just get to the point where we understand that everybody has done something that maybe wasn't appropriate. Everybody has done something that they're ashamed of. But it's how those people deal with that, how they respond to it, and how we respond to them. Do we completely annihilate them and cut them out of our lives, or do we find a way to forgive, to even to love them? Because at some point, it's always someone that you care about in your family who's maybe done something wrong. How do you deal